the medical side new or changed since we last talked?
Not that I haven't heard. I mean, I think Evan potentially could be hitting in the backfield game today. We'll see how he feels coming in. JJ is taking ground balls right now. Everything checked out, which is good. So other than that, I don't think I have anything else. There's a couple guys, relievers, that are sick, which obviously isn't great, but it's kind of what is going around.
When could we see Josh back in a game?
I don't know. He just took ground balls. So I think it's just you got to check some boxes, and I think the hitting is what's going to determine when he can get back out there. But he hasn't run bases. He hasn't done anything like that yet. But good sign that he took ground balls. So it's trending the right direction.
What have you seen from Zeke so far this spring? I know, again, we can have sample size, but what have you kind of seen from him at the plate, in the field, as he battles?
Yeah, he's got the attractive part about Zeke is the versatility, and he has done really well at second and short, and obviously third. He's going to be playing left here soon, so the versatility is what his calling card is. He's taken some good swings lately as far as on the backfield. He's working really hard with JV and Cintrone, trying to deliver the blow instead of like glancing blows. I know it's been a little bit since he's really produced as far as like the extra base hits and the slug and that type of thing. But I think him just getting back to being a hitter and not worrying about that stuff is kind of where we're at right now, because I think that part will trend in the right direction as far as the slug and extra base hits. But Zeke's a really good player. He's versatile, like I said, and so hopefully we can get him back to who he was a couple of years ago.
I'm curious, because when he was up in 23 and filled in for Corey for a while, he was hitting the ball hard. He was really slugging the ball, a lot of big exit velocities. And to your point, it hasn't been there in a minute now. Is that I know you haven't been with him the entire time, but is that just a mechanical thing? Is that a mental thing? Like, how does a guy go from showing that to it seems harder to find?
Great question. I wish I could tell you this is exactly what he needs to do to get back to where he is. I think, the previous, JV's been working with him now for a little bit, trying to get him back to where he was, the exit velos and all that stuff. The frustrating part is it's in the cage. It's just not translating in the game yet. But I will say the last couple games backfield and here, it's kind of looking the way it should look as far as what the cage work is and translating it into the game. He squared a couple balls up in the backfield game. He had a really good swing, double down the line the other day. Although it was on the ground, it was still like the bat path is there. So that's what you're kind of looking for, is like, can you manipulate the barrel like he had been in the past? Or is it just this groove swing where he's not getting to the ball? Is he spinning off, trying to get to a heater? All of those things have been true. So if we can get him more consistent and not spinny, where he's just like sees a fastball and trying to get to it and trying to slug the other way or pull side and getting his direction back, I think then he's going to be in a better spot. That's what it looks like in the cage. Obviously, when there's a guy on the mound, it can be more challenging, but he's getting to a place where he's feeling more comfortable in the game.
What have you liked from Jake Berger so far this spring?
Trusting his process and not being live and dying by one at bat. I think he is, if you've noticed the last couple games, obviously Brazil was a really good game, but the previous ones, it was 0 for 2 and then you get to hit his third at bat. So it's not this peak and valley of like emotion. It's just like, that was a really good swing. My process was right. The result wasn't where I wanted it to be. If I keep going this way, it will be there, and that's what's been really good for him so far this spring. That's the version I've seen before. So if we can get that through 162, then the numbers will be there. But like I've said about a number of guys, I don't want these guys to chase numbers and results. The numbers will be there if you chase the right things, which is process and winning. And he's definitely that guy. And if we can get other guys like that to think like that, which I know it's in there, then we're going to be okay.
I know you weren't with the team I guess, full-time last year, but did you think that was a mental thing with him last year in terms of the peaks and valleys?
Well, he was hurt too. I mean, a lot. So, unfortunately, yeah. I mean, it is hard to get back, and I've said it before. I'd rather you hit me in the face than in the hands, and wrist stuff and hand stuff, and any hand wrist injury is really challenging to fight back from. And he was playing with it even though he needed to have surgery on it. That shows you how tough this kid is. But it's hard to deliver a blow when you have anything wrong with your hands or wrist area. So, and he had some lower half stuff that he tried to fight through as well, and maybe came back a little bit too quick because he knew we were in a playoff, race, and try to get back in the lineup. So I think, yes, he probably wanted to get off to a hot start. He definitely got hurt. Try to fight back from it, probably too quick, and the numbers were the numbers. But I think hopefully he just stays healthy this year and trusts what he's doing is going to translate, and I think he's going to be just fine.
Kind of near like the mid.
By the way, he's really good at first last year for changing positions. Sorry.
No, you're good. We're kind of near the mid of the games camp. Do certain things become more important at this point to you versus staying healthy? Obviously, no, but do you start looking at different things once we kind of hit that final 2-week stretch as you're thinking about building out this roster?
Yes and no. Health is still on the forefront of my mind. The building guys up more than 2 at bats, building guys up more than 3 innings or 4 innings. I think that's going to be trying to get through some soreness of back-to-back games at 5 and 6 innings and 3 at bats and long innings and standing around and coming back in and getting the at bat. Just guys aren't used to that yet. Guys are used to 2 at bats and taking it to the house. I think that's going to be the much different as we start building guys up. I always think about build up, pull back, build up. The off day leading up to it, we've had a couple guys with a couple days off. We had a couple guys that were sick, so that was kind of the pullback. We're going to kind of ramp up a little bit more now, getting into that next off day, which I think is the 11th. And then after that, then we're going to try to get guys to the finish line where they feel really good about playing 9 innings. So yeah, there's a number of things I think about. The bullpen, the construction of it. Still a lot of openings, and guys are fighting for positions. And I think once you get kind of these send outs, you're going to start seeing more and more potential big leaguers that you're facing. So it's always challenging when some guys are facing potential AA arms or AA bats, and so what is real, what's not early on, and you start seeing some potential starting lineups, and starting rotation and potential bullpen arms that you see, so you can have make some hopefully some educated decisions, and not just the numbers of a spring training.
Yeah. How hard is that?
Hard.
Right.
Spring training, figuring out is hard.
With younger bullpen arms, specifically, like a Baumler or Collier, right? Guys you want to see, can they go back-to-back days? Can they pitch in high leverage spots? That's tough to simulate in spring training, right? Or impossible.
They're going to go back-to-back. Yeah, I mean, that's part of the deal. Can he go back-to-back? Can they go multiple innings? Can they go, an inning and a third, whatever it is, coming in a leverage spot? That's why you do have backfield games to try to simulate that stuff. And we're going to try to do that. We're going to have, there's a lot of arms still in this camp, so there's going to be starts down there there's Alexander's today, but there's going to be starts down there coming up now that minor league games are starting, and then there's going to be back here, but that doesn't change just because one's here and one's down there. You're still looking at the same stuff, and you're trying to put guys in situations so you can try to make the best decision you can. It's not easy decisions. These are not, because they're games, but they're not real games. It's hard to really understand what this is going to look like. Some of the bubble guys, but you get the information from front office, you get the information from our staff, and you try to make the best decision you can.